All right, we're live. Welcome everybody to another Q&A office hour and strategy call. I am here with our special guest, Lesli Bitel, and my eyes are diverted right now for a second, Lesli. I'm just going to make sure that our live stream
Okay.
is active and it looks like we're good to go.
Awesome. Hey,
All
Jeannie.
right, so I'm good. I'm good. You know, it's always such a pleasure to have you with us on these calls, and it's just nice to have a level of confidence that you're always going to deliver value to our community. So I'm really excited about our conversation today, which is going to be about 6 steps to more sales without kind of feeling icky about it, right?
Yes, my favorite.
I know, mine too. We were just like, Lesli and I, before we went live, we were like chatting and we just started going down this rabbit hole. I'm like, oh, we got to go live. So we'll definitely be having more conversations. But to kick this off, could you just please give our guests a brief introduction to your background, who you are, what you do, and who you serve?
Yeah. So, hi, everybody. I'm really happy to be here with you today. And my name is Lesli Bitel, and I am a registered dietitian. Lots of clinical background, lots and lots of experience from that standpoint. Had my own private practice. Have an MBA in global business. So what I decided to do it's been about 7.5 years ago now, was to pivot and help other practitioners, mainly registered dietitians, to build their own profitable practice. So that's kind of like the 30-second version of my very long background. But really, I'm here to help people just like you who are building a practice and looking for strategies to just make it seamless, right? Just to help you to overcome the overwhelm and some of the challenges associated with marketing, right? And at the end of the day, it's really so that you all can really serve more people, right? To be able to help more people. So that is what I am all about.
So Alif just said, you're going to love this, Lesli. I love this. I've heard so many great things about Lesli, but I've never gotten a chance to listen to her before. So
great.
yes, today is going to be a great opportunity. Alif Yavuz, it sounds like.
Sorry. Okay. Alif. Okay, great.
Alif, yeah.
So happy
So Alif, if you have any questions, or Alyssa is joining us now too. If you have any questions for Lesli, just drop them in the comments as we have the conversation, and she'll be available to you to answer them. And Leslie's also quite active in our private Facebook group. So if you ever have a question related to business, you can always tag her there. And what I will say, Lesli, is, one of the things that I really enjoy about your approach to business coaching is that you had experience as a private practice dietitian. You were you built a successful private practice, and now you're pivoting and sharing it with the community. So you're bringing all of that experience in addition to your layer as a business professional with your MBA. So I just love that combination. It's not typical in our community. I mean, typically you'd see like a master's in science or education, like myself. So just really valuable credential and knowledge that you bring. So thank you again for being here. All right. So we are going to be talking today about 6 steps to more sales. I am going to give you a link at the end of our time today so that you can grab the infographic. But Leslie's really going to take you through these 6 steps, and we're going to have a conversation about each one. So should we just kick it off with step 1, Lesli?
Let's do it.
Absolutely. All right. Step 1, adopt a winning mindset. And again, these are 6 steps to more sales as a health and wellness professional.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So let's talk about this one. This is super critical. So even before you get on the phone or get, on Zoom, whatever way you are connecting with your potential client, prior to, them saying yes, essentially, that's what we're hoping for, right? So it's really imperative that you anchor yourself, a few deep breaths. Remember, it's not about you. Okay. Super important. You're really not selling yourself. That's kind of a misnomer. So I really want you to feel anchored and calm And just the most important thing is that you are crystal clear on the value you provide. So I think it's super helpful to just kind of meditate, to think about those people that you've impacted, and think about how, not just like, oh, they lost X pounds, or oh, they, whatever that outcome was, how did that change their life? That's what I want you to think about, right? Like the bigger picture, the bigger ramification. So I really want you to settle in and lean into the incredible value that you provide as a first step. And the other thing is, I think it's super important to get on these calls with you being established as the leader. To be clear, these conversations are not you just giving a free session. Okay.
So you're alluding to a discovery call.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. It is a discovery call, right?
It's a discovery call, right? So maybe you have somebody has come into your funnel, or they've opted into one of your free programs or whatever, and now you have a direct contact with them, and your goal is to convert them from a warm lead or a cold lead to a client. So that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll also just say, Lesli, that in reviewing, because I had the opportunity to take a look at your infographic and some information, I actually think that steps 2 through 6 will completely feed into this adopt a winning mindset, because you do talk about value and really standing firmly and confidently in your offers. And that helps. I know that helps me with my mindset with these kinds of conversations.
Yeah, absolutely. So to be clear, these are the 6 steps that I really want to drive home in our conversation today around, basically a discovery call. There's a lot of different names for that conversation: clarity call, discovery call, strategy sessions, but it's that initial conversation that you would have with a potential client, right? So they can find you on Instagram, they can find you on social media. There's all different ways that clients come to us, or potential clients come to us. Right. So what's really critical is that once you have, you've got this conversation set up, you're feeling really confident. You guys, you've got to have a roadmap. I think that's really the bottom line. Right. Don't wing it. That is truly one of the biggest mistakes that I see, is, just jumping on these calls and just winging it, and just kind of, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It usually it doesn't feel good, and it oftentimes doesn't work out, right? So, because the client can sense your discomfort. So again, step 1 is really lean into a positive mindset, and you are establishing yourself as the leader in this conversation, which again, I do agree, Jeannie, as we unpack the other steps in the process, being the leader will really resonate. So guys, it's not an opportunity for the client just to pick your brain the whole time. Okay.
Right.
And just try to get all kinds of free information. That's not what this is.
Right. You're not giving them any how-tos. And by the way, I just wanted to, and Lesli, I know that you'll agree with me on this, that a discovery call is a super high value opt-in. Use discovery calls as opt-ins. So if you're, like Lesli said, if you're on Instagram or doing a Facebook Live event, say DM me for, and we'll connect for a 15-minute free discovery call. That is a super high value opt-in. So you have that 15 minutes or however long you decide that discovery call is going to be. You've got to pack that with value. And the value, like Lesli said, is not the how-to. Don't let them pick your brain like, oh, I've tried all these things. So how, but it is, how are you going to be different? How are you going to make my experience different? That's the client talking, right? So let's jump right into step number 2, which will feed into 1, uncovering the pain. So what are you talking about there, Lesli?
All right. So what I recommend is, part of adopting a winning mindset is just one thing that's not on your sheet, guys, that I want to make note of. I want you to give them the agenda. Okay. that is really important
And
because
that's simple, right? It's nothing more than, I'm so glad to be with you today. Here's what we're going to be, here's
that's
what we're
all
going
I'm
to talk about.
asking for.
Just like lay it out, right? These are our objectives for today. Yeah.
It is sort of common sense, but my guess is that most people don't do it, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
just remember, give them the agenda, okay? And really the agenda is on this PDF, to be really honest with you, right? So, all right, so in the conversation, the first thing we're going to do, we'll get, maybe a snapshot of the potential client situation, okay? We'll just, just kind of give me an overview. Then we're going to go right into what's not working for the person. Okay. So we are uncovering the pain. Guys, if you can do this effectively, I can virtually guarantee you're going to get more yeses. You're giving that person space to not just go on and on and on about all the challenges and that's not what I'm talking about, but we're really giving them the space to talk about how this challenge, whatever it is that you're helping them with in the work that you do, how is that impacting or getting in their way of living the life that they want, right? What is the spillover of being stuck? That's essentially what we're getting at here. So give them space to talk about that so that they increase their level of awareness around what's at stake if they don't change. Okay.
Leslie, I love that you brought this up. And as my community members know, I talk about decisional balance as part of the behavior change process. And you have to uncover where your clients are getting stuck. And it is different for everyone. Like, for me, Leslie, and I'm sure this is a scenario that probably plays out commonly for nutrition professionals. Most of my clients actually came to me knowing what they already needed to do to meet their health goals, right? Because they've either heard it from a doctor or they've seen other people before, but they're stuck for some reason.
Right.
And you need to uncover what is getting them stuck. For me, I kept hearing over and over again is, I just don't know what to make, or which leads people to just give me a meal plan, which I wouldn't do either, right? It's part of comprehensive care. So really uncovering the behavior that where they're getting stuck. I can't cook my meals, or I don't know what foods to pick. And then boom, 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 boom. Like all of those how-to resources that you have in your arsenal, that's what you deliver to them as a paid client.
Right.
Yeah. I love, for those of you who are members of my community, go to your library, go to your professional, your business tools kit, and find that decisional balance framework, because that's what Leslie is talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're talking about a pain, you're not saying, oh, it's not, I have 10 pounds to lose, or my blood sugar is, it's the behavior, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah. And guys, the way I look at this is really what you're doing in this call is it's kind of like that preliminary work in that you're helping your potential client, first of all, really get clear on, again, what's at stake if they don't change and what's possible for them if they do decide to step in. Right? It's incredibly powerful. It really helps people to get clarity around their big why. And honestly, the way these steps are set up for you, it is going to help move that client through to become increase their readiness to change. Right? It
provides motivation, right?
Exactly.
That's the motivation, right? The stuck place is kind of that negative space of where your clients are getting hung up. But when they can see to the finish line, oh, that's what I want my life to look like in 6 months, that's the motivation.
That's exactly right.
And it's as important for us as practitioners to understand, what that end game is like. And it's not even an end game, because we know behavior change is very dynamic, right? It's not a linear process. But where do they want to be, and where do they want to stand? And seeing yourself as the vehicle to help them do that, right? That's what you're communicating. You're not giving them all the how-tos to overcome that behavior.
You're not doing that,
right?
You're not. And that's where so many, I think, dietitians, practitioners get stuck.
Right.
You're not. That's the paid work that you're doing, right?
Right.
So this is more, I really look at it like it's more priming. It's prepping the client to be an awesome committed client, because once they're clear, they're in and they're all in, right? So guys, again, if you can really give that person space to express where the struggles are, where the challenges lie, not just surface value of, oh, the challenge is I have to lose weight. Well, we want to go deeper than that. Go under the surface. What are the ramifications for you of carrying around this extra 10 pounds? How is that, what is that? How is that holding you back?
Let's do a little role play here.
Okay.
So I'm gonna, because I see it kind of playing out in my mind. All right. So you're the practitioner and I'm the client, and I come to you with uncontrolled blood sugars. Right.
Right.
My uncontrolled, that's not the pain. The question is, right. And utilizing motivational interviewing, which I know Lesli is quite skilled at as well, asking open-ended questions to say, okay, why is this happening? So what's a kind of question you would ask a patient who comes in with who's pre-diabetic?
I would. So struggles with.
I'm sorry, I'm putting you on the spot, but I just
I love it. All right, you're struggling with blood sugar. Okay,
Yeah.
I would probably say, tell me more about that.
Yeah.
Really super open-ended.
Right.
Tell me more about that, and then I would say, I would say, so how does having uncontrolled blood sugar, your blood sugar is completely out of whack, how does that make you feel inside?
Right.
I
Typical response, I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm failing my family. And I'm trying really hard. Right. So when a client would say, I'm really trying, they're alluding to behaviors that they've engaged in that perhaps have failed them. Right. I've tried dieting, which all of us know, is not going to work long term, right? So uncovering what they've done in the past really starts getting into the behaviors. Okay, so
we've uncovered that question. Yeah.
So we've uncovered the pain.
Tell me what you've tried in the past to solve this, and what were the results? Because what happens with that question, guys, is that they start to go, oh my gosh, I've wasted so much time, money, and energy on a bunch of stuff that is ineffective. So that is actually, I love that question. So I would ask, how does that make you feel inside? Okay. Right. So I'm looking for emotional. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to tap into the emotional side of the brain, because how do we make buying decisions? 100%. I mean, honestly, how do we make any decision?
Right. With our emotions.
Not just buying. 100% on the emotional side of the brain. Believe it or not, it's been shown over and over again. Of course, we back that up with rational thinking, right? But our initial decision is very emotional. So
and that's where that motivational interviewing can help you, right?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So the motivational interviewing really starts to open up that faucet of, giving, and you said many times already, give the patient and the client the space to express their emotions, but you do have to prompt them appropriately. For my members who are on, I have a motivational interviewing guide in your library. So you can refer to that too. Just a bunch of, really great tips from Molly Kellogg, actually, our colleague. So now you've uncovered the pain. I've shared with you some of my emotions. And honestly, I'm sure you had this too. I've had clients at this stage in a discovery call and in a counseling session who are already in tears. Right, because there's so much pain associated, especially people who've been touched by cancer. There's so much stress and so much emotion wrapped up in, that diagnosis and recovery, that it, just talking about the emotions associated with that makes them, gets them really upset. So then you have to kind of move them over to the happier place, which is creating the vision, right? So are you talking about the roadmap? Like, what is it going to look like for me as the patient to work with you, Lesli?
Actually, I would say that is the next step.
That's the next. Okay. So what is the vision then? Tell me.
What we want to do, it's kind of like, we're striking a yin and yang, a balance, right? We're going to talk, like I always say, on one side of the coin, you've got the struggles and the challenges. What does that look like? What does it feel like? How's that holding you back? How's that spilling over in your life? And how does it feel? On the other side of the coin, we want to now go into the vision. And what we're doing here is we're asking them to talk to us about what life could look like
Got
if
it.
we're
Right.
able to rectify some of these challenges, if they were able to get closer to achieving their goals. So
Right.
again, we want to give them some space to talk about what that would look like for them. We don't censor, we don't correct. It's
Don't
their
judge. Right.
it's
Right.
zero judgment. It's their vision. And guys, this is really their North Star. Okay. Whatever it is for that person. Why achieving a health goal is important is so variable person to person, right? It could be,
Yeah.
I want to be alive for my grandchildren.
Yeah.
It's so variable. So you want to, again, give them some space to dream a little, like imagine how your life can shift. And guys, we're looking at big picture, like not just, I want to lose 10 pounds, or you know what I mean? Like go deeper. What would that help you to do, be, or have? If you're able to lose that 10 pounds, what would that look like for
it
you?
might be my blood sugar. If I was able to eat in a way that supported that goal, then my blood sugars would be better managed. So that it all coming back to the role playing as me as a patient. So as the patient, you are going to be asking me open-ended questions using motivational interviewing to guide me to create my own vision. So one of the questions that I used to use is what do you want your life to look like in 3 months from today?
Love
what right? Not 1 week, not 1 month, 3 months. Like that's minimum for behavior change. That's in my opinion. So what do you want my life to look like? Well, in 3 months, I want my hemoglobin A1C to be this, because then I have confidence knowing that I'm achieving my health goals, right? So creating the vision is about the patient with your guidance, because you're the guide here, right?
Yeah.
Taking control of the conversation. What does it look like for them in the future? Okay.
Yeah, I love that. And I do want to just add,
Sure.
if they say, well, in 3 months, I want to normalize my hemoglobin A1C, like, duh, right? Like some people might say that.
Right.
So that's not deep enough to be clear for everybody, right? So they may not offer up so that I can. If they don't offer that, then I want you to ask, what would that feel? How would that make you feel?
Right.
What would the spillover effect be there? How would that impact your, wherever it was that they're challenged? How would that impact your relationships, your social life, your financial, like whatever it was that you're struggling with?
Sure. Well, because for diabetes, there is a financial component too. So I think that's probably why you brought that up, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you want to dig deeper. That is the most important thing. Dig deeper on the pain.
Yep.
Dig deeper on the vision. Give them space. Now, it doesn't have to take an hour.
That right there. I mean, we're talking a lot, but that right there could be the first 5 minutes. I mean, that's
exactly.
Yeah.
So you guys, if you can do that in the first few minutes of the conversation, you're going to be golden. Now, where the struggles lie for dietitians, I think, is we're very clinically oriented, right? We want to look at the numbers.
Which is why I said hemoglobin A1C, right? So you're right, digging deeper. Yeah.
I want you to save that for the paid work.
Yep.
Okay. So this is just more of like I would call it more of a coaching call instead of, I'm going to dig in and solve all your issues.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not doing that. I know we keep repeating that, but I do think it is, it's really tempting to do that. And I really want to urge you to just rein it in, because if you give people so many how-tos, why are they going to hire you?
Exactly. And you can't do that in a discovery call. So you're actually not going to be providing the best service.
You're not.
You can, right?
Giving that illusion.
So getting back to the role play. So now I've been touched by prediabetes. I've come to Lesli. I've told you my pain. My vision is to really just have more confidence and to stop this kind of endless cycle of failing, right? I've been trying to control my blood sugars. I haven't been able to do it. And really, eating in a way that will support healthy blood sugars is what I need to do, right? So now comes time for Lesli and I love the word boldly here, Lesli. I feel so strongly about that. You don't just present an offer. And that's what Leslie's expertise is in, right? Leslie's going to help you create an irresistible offer.
Yes.
Your offer should be so good that people don't feel right about not accepting it. They're like, wow, like for me, it's really, people should click without even thinking about it. But if they're in the discovery call, they should not even hesitate. And it's not about having the lowest price. It's about having an offer.
Oh no.
Well, I'll let you talk. Because I want to spend some time on this topic because I feel very passionately about it. But when you say boldly present the offer, what do you mean?
Okay. Well, first of all, you got to have an awesome offer, right? That you're confident that will move that client forward in helping them to, move towards that ultimate vision.
Yep.
So what I would recommend in that conversation, well, I'll just give you another little bonus tip that's not on your sheet here. A question I love to ask before you go into the offer is, maybe you do a little summary, like, okay, so here's what I've heard so far. You're really struggling with your blood sugar, and this is concerning to you because of XYZ. It's impacting your life in this way. And on the other hand, your vision is such, do a little summary. And then I would say, so I have a question for you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it for you to go from here to there?
Love that. I use that scale all the time for other behaviors. That is golden, guys. So guys, if you haven't caught that, Lesli is
not on your sheet.
Yeah, it's not on your sheet. So it's bonus for showing up live.
Bonus tip. Showing up live.
Bonus tip on a scale of 1 to 10, right? That confidence level. Right. And if somebody says, repeat the question, what the question for the scale is.
So I personally like to ask, how important is it?
How important is it?
Most people are not going to be confident.
Right.
That they can change because
that's actually part of the medical nutrition therapy. That's when you're going to dive into confidence levels. Okay.
Yeah. So confidence is more like when you're working with the person.
Got it.
Right now, what you're looking for is just commitment. Like, how bad do you want this?
I love it. Without saying it that way.
Right.
Exactly. How important is it to you? And if the person's like, well, it's like a 3.
Okay. If it's
probably shouldn't be on the call with you.
No, something is way wrong if it's a 3 and you're still on the phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Conversation. But honestly, if nobody's going to say a 3 at this point, I don't think I've ever heard of it ever happening.
Right.
You probably are going to get 8, 9, or 10, most likely. And sometimes it's just, they say an 8 because, well, I've got family, like it can't be a 10 because, whatever, but 8, 9, or 10, I think
I'm mostly committed.
Okay. Committed. I do it. Maybe have some time constraints that I have to contend with, and that's fine, right? Okay. So ask that question because it's a great segue into boldly presenting your offer. Okay. So now here's the key. When we move into presenting the offer, what most people do, most practitioners, is they would just roll right into, okay, here's what I've got for you, right? I've got, this program, what's included. And so don't do that. I would just say, hold off on the features and the price of that program. What you want to do is go into the segment of presenting the offer by really emphasizing the amazing transformations that are possible within this program. Okay, so that's the key here.
So tell me, what does that sound like? So now I'm still your patient.
Okay.
So, So we've created the vision. I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
This is super important to me. I've got young kids. I have grandkids, which I actually do. You don't find too many people in that situation, but bringing a little bit of reality in there. But okay. So, it's very important to me. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm a 10.
All right.
Okay. Where do you come?
I would say that's incredible. I can tell you're really committed.
Right.
I might even say, and you know what, that I really focus on, working with people that are committed like yourself, right? Because I want to work with people that are going to get great results.
Right.
So I would say I have a program called blank, right? I would give the program a name. Um,
28 days to better blood sugars. Let's
yeah,
just name it. Okay.
28-day blood sugar reset. How's
Right.
that?
Perfect. Perfect.
I have a program and it's called the 28-day blood sugar reset. I think it would be a really, really nice fit for you because this program is designed to help you to not only regulate your blood sugar, you're going to get meal plans. So like meal planning is going to be easy. The program is designed to help increase your energy levels. So you're going to wake up feeling refreshed and ready to start your day, right? See these results I'm bringing in.
Right.
It's designed to stabilize your blood sugars, keep them in a tighter window so that you can
Right.
add the so that you can
Sleep better, have
better.
more energy. Right.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So that's what we want to emphasize are those results.
The benefits and the results.
We're going to end the confusion about, what to eat and when to eat. You're going to be, whipping up meals that are super easy that your whole family is going to love, not just you, right? More results. So you guys get the sense of,
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then you also did say something which I think should not be overlooked. You mentioned it about normalizing kind of where that person is. You said right at the beginning, people just like you. So if I was your patient, right, and I said I am a 10 out of 10, that you are the perfect candidate for this program, I have helped so many people just like you, people who are committed, people who have this same goal as you. So normalizing that just makes people feel, and it's, it obviously has to be truth. So don't normalize it if it's not true. But, I'm assuming as a practitioner, you've helped many people with their blood sugars. So normalizing it then doesn't feel so overwhelming. Like, oh, Leslie's helped so many people just like me. She can help, right? Okay. So it's also like kind of that social proof. Does that make sense, Lesli? Okay.
So much sense. And there are some little kind of sub steps to this process that I don't think I have on here, but just let's see. No, I don't think I do. Bottom line is this: in your conversation, one thing you can do is, and this speaks to what Jeannie is referring to, like kind of normalizing that experience. It helps the person feel like they're not alone. Okay. Mm-hmm. So one thing you can do that's really effective is you can say, like, you can do it either during the, uncovering the pain points part or the vision, or you can do both, right? Like you can do one or two of these. But one thing you can do is say, so Jeannie, I have a client that I've been working with who kind of reminds me of you in some ways. Just like you, she too has really been struggling with blood sugar control. Her doctor's threatening to, put her on meds if she doesn't get it under control in a few months. So she came to me really super anxious and stressed, was having trouble sleeping, was really exhausted. Like, paint that picture, right?
Right.
One of the things we did was you can just like name, a starting point, right? Like a step you took in your process. Of course, we did more than that. But one of the things we did was we had her, track her.
How about food journaling? I used to love doing this with clients. She, using the app that we will be using together when we work. Now, that language that I just used is already assuming that I have the sale, which I'm sure you're going to.
Oh my God, that's teeny. Like, oh my gosh.
Right?
You're brilliant. Yeah.
I'm a sales girl at heart. Yeah. Like, but when you're sitting boldly,
language, guys.
Right. Like when we're working together, this is how it's going to go down. Like, I have an app. So, highest level of professionalism. I have an app that you're going to have access to. You're going to take, just like this client of mine, take pictures of your food goals for the week. So we talked about making sheet pan dinners for your family because you're so busy, just like her. You're going to take pictures of that and we're going to talk about it. And we're going to, I'm going to be with you in the kitchen. That's what I would want to hear every step of the way. Right. So are you guys, so far, what do you guys, I just want to ask our guests right now what they find most helpful. So June, Celine, Heather, what are you guys feeling is most helpful so far? Drop it in comments. Debbie, let us know what you found so helpful right now, so far in our conversation. So
I think it is super helpful, just to kind of recap what we were just saying, is to have a couple of examples of clients.
Right.
And you can kind of do these like little mini case vignettes, right?
Yeah.
And the thing I want to add on to what you said, Jeannie, is I love that example of the app. That is absolutely genius. I would kind of summarize that by saying, and just so you know, this client, now 3 months later, I would describe where she's at and how her life has changed. Because
still having access to my resources, yeah, exactly. Because the idea is not that this client becomes dependent on you, and they should know that too. The idea is that they work with you so that they can, sustain whatever changes you're going to help them with.
Exactly.
So, all right. So boldly presenting your offer, not with the hard sell, but with the soft sell, which is, what Leslie just talked about. So
so want to open with results, right? Open that segment with results.
Yes.
Then you want to move into, I like to check in, always check in. Can you see why I thought that would be such a great fit for you?
Yeah. Like, how are you feeling about it now? Yeah. So good.
Say yes.
Yes. So good.
And then you move into, okay, so let me give you an overview of how my program is set up, right? Mm-hmm. So just brief, they don't care so much. They don't care.
Bells and whistles, right?
They do not care, because they're so fired up about the possibilities. So don't go down the rabbit hole, just, going on and on about all the bells and whistles, because that's not what they care about. Give them a concise overview of how the program's organized, what they get.
Right.
Do the check-in. How is this landing so far? Now, here's a critical question to ask before you go into the investment. Again, not on your handout. What I would do before I talk about money is I would do, it's really kind of like a trial close, right? This is the, what you're doing. You want to ask the person, gosh, based on everything I've shared with you so far, does this sound like a program that, assuming the investment works for you, does this sound like something that you want to step into?
Yeah.
Okay. What you're doing is once you talk money, things can get kind of muddy, right?
Yep. So, and uncomfortable. As valuable as we all know the services are, it's still uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So you want to just kind of check in and see, is there any outstanding hesitation? Like, she might be thinking, well, it sounds great, but there might be a but.
Right. But any just for people who are watching us right now, listening to this conversation, the but is the precursor to the objection, obviously. Right. Yeah. So I'd love to do this, but here come all the barriers, people. I don't know how to cook. I'm not confident in the kitchen. My life is too busy. Right. I've got, blah, 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 all of these different barriers. You got to be ready to, be like, oh, okay, I guess it's not going to work. That's not the answer. The answer is that, right? So how does the practitioner walk into those objections? And you can just pick one or two of them confidently without literally going down that rabbit hole.
Okay. So, all right. So let's say you ask that question, and they're like, well, it sounds great, but I'm so busy.
Right.
And I don't know.
Is there a supplement for that?
Yeah. Right. But one thing I do want to say to everyone is getting the objections on the table. Like, don't be afraid of that. Okay. Seriously. And the other thing is, and I know Jeannie and I are in a total alignment here, is what I don't want you to do is just say, oh, okay, sounds good. Let's stay in touch.
Maybe another time when you're less busy. There's no better time than now.
No, because obviously. The reality is they want help. They're just looking for you to kind of help coach them through that. So, all right, so I'm too busy. What would I say? I probably would say, okay, I would always say, I love to say I'm curious. So I'm curious about that. It doesn't feel confrontational, right?
Right.
Use the word curious. Right. I'm curious about that. It's interesting because you had indicated that it's a 10 out of 10. So I might kind of go back to how important it is.
Right.
right? That's why we're not asking for how confident are you? It's
Right.
how important is this in your life? So you said it was a 10. No, I would not be confrontational about
Right.
this, right? I would just say, I do want to just point out that, on a scale of 1 to 10, you had indicated it was the most important thing. Like, and everything would shift for you if you were able to really better manage your blood sugar. So I'm curious, what shifted for you?
Right.
I would just kind of ask an open.
I would also ask, too busy to do what? Because I think when somebody says they're too busy, they're actually probably overthink, like
Yeah,
thinking they're thinking of all the things that they have to do in order to get that change. And
yeah,
they just become overwhelmed. Well, you're too busy. You know what? Then we can just take it slow. Like that would, as a practitioner, that would be my response.
yeah.
Well, this
Actually,
is a 4-week program, but you can take your time.
yeah,
It's self-paced, and I'll be here for you. And you don't have to cook every meal of every day in order to stabilize your blood sugar. I mean, I just, as an anecdote, I had a client who not only didn't like to cook, but didn't like vegetables. This was like, literally, it was like my 10th client as a registered dietitian. Like, I was not prepared for that. Like this client was a recent widow. And so cooking was not an enjoyable experience for her. So I had to understand that, right? So she worked a lot, she ate out exclusively, and she didn't like vegetables. And yet she was still able to meet her health goals, because I said, you know what? You can, and I think being flexible as a practitioner, once you get to these objections, you really do have to be able to manage pretty much anything that's being thrown at. It's like the Matrix, right? So you got all these bullets coming at you. You have to, with grace, address those. And almost always, as a trained nutrition professional, you will be able to support that client with overcoming that barrier. Would you agree, Lesli?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's different directions you can take in the conversation, right? So I gave you one direction. I love Jeannie's idea too. So I think the key is that I'm just going to be really blunt. Don't let them just off the hook.
Yeah.
Okay. Just don't do that, because what's going to happen is nothing.
Yeah, nothing. And you're not going to feel great about the call either. I mean, there might be some valid objections, and there's always going to be a positive outcome, by the way, right? Yeah. Even if you don't get the sale. So let's say, the objection is, I can't afford you, and you don't take insurance or whatever. I mean, you're not going to lower your price, right? Maybe you can offer a payment plan, but if it's a true barrier, of which there are very few, a true barrier, then I have some free resources. Here they are, right? And that person can stay in your community, maybe be a member of your private Facebook group, and just stay in your community until they're ready, or that objection is no longer relevant. Does that sound smart, Lesli?
It does. And I do want to, because let's be honest, that's probably the most common objection, right? Is
the money
part, right? Now, I'm 100%. I know that it is very true for some people. Okay. So I'm not at all dismissing that at all. That being said, I would say for most people, it's a matter of priorities. Right.
And also, listen, if you have to start somewhere. So don't, as a practitioner, don't try and figure this all out without beta testing basically your script here, right? So you have to do a number of, if in 2 weeks you do 10 discovery calls, and every single person says, your pricing is crazy, I can't afford that, maybe you need to revisit your pricing. If you are actually talking to your ideal target client, and again, that is not a terrible outcome. That's information for you then to go back to Lesli, your business coach, and to say, wow, like people are not opting into this. Maybe you don't have to necessarily reprice the offer, but maybe you create a smaller offer or a smaller offer, right?
Yeah. You've got options.
Add
more value to your current offer. And so I got to just put this out there. I'd say most of the time it's because people are not doing this enrollment call very well.
Right.
Let's put it out there. That's why I'm really passionate about it. So what I would do if you were my client and you were getting no's, I'd revisit the offer. I'd of
Right.
course revisit the investment, but I'm guessing for most of us out there, you're in line. Like most dietitians charge too little. Let's just be
Yeah,
honest.
true. That's true. So it sounds like an audit is in order, right?
I
And
I would identify where's the bottleneck.
yeah,
Okay?
yep,
That's what I do with my clients. Okay.
okay,
Look at so we diagnose where's the problem and we
okay.
fix that problem.
So
And
it might not actually be the offer. It might not actually, right? Okay,
it might or might not be,
right.
right?
Okay.
You might decide, you know what? I'm not changing my big offer because this is where I know people are going to get the best results.
Right.
Maybe you, for some people that are a little financially constrained, maybe we have a smaller offer, like a backup offer.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Hey,
There's always solutions.
I just did that in my business as a response to the recession. Now, of course, my business is business to consumer, not direct to consumer. Right. But it was super important because I'd started hearing enough people say, "Oh, I really, really need your resources, but I just can't afford that right now." Okay, time to create kind of a sub offer, a mid-priced offer, and it worked out great because then those clients feel heard. So, but you do have to start somewhere. So if you're starting with an offer and you're starting to hear this and you're going through an audit with Lesli as your business coach, just trying to discover, is it your delivery? Are you targeting the wrong people? Or is it actually your offer? Then make that decision to kind of pivot, because we all know that pivoting is the key to success, because you have to constantly pivot if you want to be successful. So, okay, what does utilize stick strategies mean?
All right, so let's talk about this one.
Okay.
Utilizing stick strategy. Okay, so we talked about overcoming objections.
Yep.
Right? Everyone's good on that. We're not just going to roll over and say, okay.
Yeah. And also somebody said, I asked the question, what has been most helpful? And we've gotten some responses. So normalizing the behavior and also providing examples. So those kind of, brief case studies that you are sharing with clients. So who found that helpful? Susan found that helpful. Yeah, terrific. And Celine was saying one of the struggles that she has is that she wants to, and Celine is such a giving, caring person. By the way, if you haven't visited Celine Thompson's Instagram account, you need to go there because she really shines through. But being a caring person, you want to help them and fix things, but that's not what this call is about. So Celine, we hear you. We hear you. We all feel the same. Yeah. Okay. So please explain what utilize stick strategies.
All right. There's this thing, and it's called buyer's remorse.
Oh, that's right. I want a refund.
No, it is. No? And guys, I want to normalize this because here's the thing. I kind of laugh, but the reality is that, your potential client, they're like, when they say yes, right? Yay, I'm so excited. They, hang up the phone or whatever, and then they get in their own head.
Wait, can we back up half a step though? Because I was in sales. I just shared with Lesli earlier when I first got out of college, and one of the biggest pieces of kind of getting the sale is not asking for the sale. It's not, you don't ask the question, okay, are you ready to work together? You go through this conversation with the assumption that this client is going to engage in your services. Yes. So an example of closing, quote unquote, closing the sale would be, let's get you in my calendar. And look, if you say, let's get you in my calendar, I have availability next week. Does that work for you at this time? If they say, oh, but an objection is coming, so get ready for it. And then you just literally keep going back to it. You overcome the objection and you go back to it. Okay, so let's get an appointment in the calendar, or I want to think about it. That's going to be something else that you hear about. So, or, I need to speak to my partner about the expense. I mean, again, valid objections, and you have to honor that. But so the stick strategy is,
we're assuming that they've said yes.
Yeah, so you're assuming they've said yes. Now it's making the sale stick. So tell us about that.
So, all right. So, really the challenge is that people, they start to second guess, like, oh my God, what was I thinking? Is this the right decision? Maybe they talk to someone who tells them they're crazy. Like, you just don't know. The issue is they get in their own head, right? So what you want to do is get them started ASAP. Don't wait.
Okay, so
As soon as they
that's what email sequences are for, first of all, right?
right,
Like
right.
the second they walk out of your office and before they even get home, they should have an email from you. And
Yeah,
just like, because you're not like, let's say, I mean, you're a busy professional and you don't have an evergreen course and the next appointment isn't for 2 weeks. You don't leave, you're not silent for 2 weeks, right?
right,
Okay.
right. So, I mean, like if you're, on a call with the person, I know a lot of my clients nowadays are not doing in person so
Right.
much, or
Right.
so let's just say that the person has said yes to a 3-month program. Okay. Just hypothetically.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is in that moment, I would really congratulate. I would make that person feel really good about their decision and moving forward. First of all, okay, great decision. I'm so excited for you. Stuff like
It's
that.
going to be wonderful working together. Just, yeah, great.
Get them scheduled. I personally would get them scheduled right then and there. Like get them scheduled for the first session right then and there
Yep.
in the books. I would get them started on something like some kind of an assessment or something in your process. Okay. So that they're already started. The payment part, like I know that can be a little tricky in terms of, okay, well, let's, you can use your discretion there if you want to, like, it can be a little tricky if you send people a link, right? Because then it kind of gives them time to go, oh man, what am I doing? What was I thinking?
Right.
But use your judgment there. Bottom line, get them started.
Okay.
Get them started. Don't wait. That's the biggest thing. So that it's like, okay, we're doing this. It's not we will do this. We are doing this starting right now. That's the big thing, right? So, and just remember, it's not you. It's just people get scared, and the reality is people have struggled. Probably the person has struggled for such a long time with this issue that they question themselves like, gosh, can I really do this? So that's really what you want to be cognizant of. Get them started ASAP. Don't wait.
Right. And I would say I'm already thinking about, for those of you who are in our community, like truly build out an email sequence. I mean, you could actually even do it by different diagnoses, right? Where you can take, let's say somebody just bought into, the 28-day blood sugar reset and it's targeted, for people who are touched by prediabetes or PCOS or, fertility. Yes, Celine just dropped in her handle, fueling fertility. So you can have these different email sequences and then put that client into the email sequence so that you're not actually doing work, but you're sending them maybe a link to a cooking video. Here, before we start working together, try this recipe.
Yeah.
Or, here's the 3-day sample of our meal plan. Anything, like just start delivering value right out of the gate. Does that sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And you might even have like a little gift that you send them or a handwritten card, right? Just to kind of solidify. I do remember, so I've got stories about each of these steps, but I do remember I signed up for a program and I ended up being very happy with the program, but I was second guessing myself. Okay. It's totally normal. And guys, I kid you not, this is really kind of funny. She sent everyone a mug. And I was thinking to myself, well, I can't like get out of this. She sent him this beautiful mug. I'm not even joking.
You felt guilty if you wanted to.
I did.
I was so funny.
God, the mug was so nice. No, I'm just being really like, I don't know if I would have tried, but it crossed my mind. I was like, God, I went through all that. Like, God, I'm not really on faith, all the excuses, right?
Yeah.
But wait, I got that mug.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Like basically a welcome to,
like a little welcome kind of thing.
Lovely, lovely. So we have some comments and questions.
Okay, great.
Somebody is asking, what is an example of a sub offer for nutrition coaches that isn't a course? I love challenges. I think challenges can serve so many, Leslie, I know you coach your clients through
Yeah.
creating challenges.
Yeah.
Challenges can serve so many purposes in your sales process and in your practice. But a challenge could be, typically challenges are defined and short term, right? So versus a 3-month course, or even a 1-month course, maybe it's a, 5-day, family meals challenge, which could be super hot right now, right? We just published in our library all these cooking videos for family meals, like put together. And it could even be like an email challenge. It doesn't have to be like hosted or anything big and fancy, but just, sign up now for my challenge. For $47, we're going to do, 5 full days of family meal planning. I don't know, but as a busy mom of 4 kids, I'm in, So what else besides challenges could be like a mid-priced offer, Leslie?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of different options. You could have a downloadable course,
Right.
which I know Jeannie has lots of great options there.
Yeah.
So you could have okay, so let's say you've got like a 3-month program as your core offer.
Right.
So I've seen a few different options here. So option one would be maybe you keep the 3-month duration, but maybe you take out like a couple things that are kind of driving up the investment, right? Okay. So that's an option. Keep the duration the same, but maybe remove a couple of the more time-consuming elements. That's
or like, if it's a course, a 3-month course that includes layers of you in it, right? So private counseling sessions or even group sessions, maybe taking those out and just having like an evergreen 4-week drip course, which is
you could do that.
Basically hands-free. Yeah. So just a lower value item that is what you're charging. Okay.
That's exactly right. So there's a lot of different options, but but that's a good example.
Oh, somebody says, I send everyone a water bottle. I love that. Hillary said, I love that. Right. So Hillary is asking, is the blood sugar reset? So Leslie and I just came up with that. Maybe we should market it, Leslie. The 28-day blood sugar reset. Is that something you have in the library? There are so many programs in my library that you could call the blood sugar reset. The anti-inflammatory is low glycemic. We have a pre-diabetes course and meal plan that is also low glycemic. So there's so many options, Hillary, that you could use inside of the library to actually make it into a 28-day blood sugar reset. It really does depend. The language is going to depend on who your target client is, but tons of content. Let's see what we have here. Oh, loving the options. Great. I love the water bottle, Hillary. Marnie is saying, I send my contract questionnaire and an invoice immediately to practice better, but now I'm rethinking the payment during the Zoom sales call. Well, Marnie, what a great and insightful question. So what would you say about that, Leslie? If I'm on a Zoom call with you, should I just, do click link to join here? Is that too bold? What do you think?
All right. So guys, here's first of all, we don't have to fix something that's not broken. Okay. So if you're doing fine with sending that link, then maybe it's okay. But here's the risk. Like I already explained the risk. People get in their own way and they're like, they just avoid paying. Right. So, okay. What you could do, you got to use your discretion, but you could say, okay, let's get you enrolled right now. Right. Like I'm going to save you some time. Let's get you into the system. Okay. And you could do it on your end. Right. You could do it on your end. And I don't think that's a bad idea, right? You could enter their credit card info and just say, I'm going to enter this in. After I enter it,
you're going to be good to go.
Access, right? Take care of all the business of getting you enrolled. I personally would do it.
So Marnie, why don't you experiment? So Marnie, if you've been doing that all along, experiment.
Yeah.
And maybe, especially for clients who are like, I am in, great. Let's get started today. Here's a link to join. As soon as you join the program, you're going to start getting emails from me. Right. And so, okay. So I would say experiment, and because every client's going to be a little bit different. Right.
Yeah. I mean, some you'll get pushback and they'll say, and I will say those are probably the ones that are a little bit on the fence.
Anyway, right.
So I would say I probably would address that before I hung up the phone.
Okay.
Once you hang up the phone, or, the Zoom call or whatever you're doing, it like whatever doubts that person is harboring, they kind of tend to solidify. So be bold, be brave, and not confrontational. You're really looking out for their best interest, right?
Well, and you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You have to be bold about presenting your offer. Like, this is going to be transformational for you. I want to get started right now. Here's the link to join the program. And, just kind of see how it plays out. Yeah. So I would experiment. I have an idea. So before you go, Lesli, we've been going through this 6 steps to more sales without feeling icky about it. That was my tagline. What's your tagline? 6 steps to more sales.
Selling your soul. Same idea, right?
Ethical. Yeah, I love it. Same idea. I actually would love to experiment with this as like a group call almost. So, getting a group of people together saying, I'm, doing it. If you have been, let's just pick something. If you've been touched by prediabetes and you want to learn more about, how working with me can help you meet your health goals, join me for this Zoom call. It's like an open house. And the reason why I thought about the open house is I'm standing in my private practice now, which is still, we haven't not opened the doors. It's basically my kitchen studio now. But we used to have open houses where people would come in. We'd go into, I have a conference room, which is my nutrition education room, and we'd all sit. And of course, I'd serve them tea and a healthy appetizer. And we'd talk about what it's like to work with the dietitians at Living Plate.
Mm-hmm.
Could you do that? Like, would you do that as a Zoom call?
I don't see why not.
How fun would that be? Who wants to do that? Somebody has to do that as a goal. I love the idea of doing a practice open house. Join me on a Zoom call and we're going to chat about, how you can meet your health goals. Who wants to do that? Let me know in comments, because I think an open house could be a really cool idea to, number one, experiment with what Lesli talked about today. It's a little bit less intimidating because you're not talking to one specific person. You are talking to a group that has similar, your ideal customer avatar, similar goals, hopefully. That could be a really fun experiment. Hillary's saying she loves that idea. Debbie says, sure. So Marnie says she loves that idea. Yeah, I want you to do it. Esther, do it. Do an open house, and honestly, if one person shows up, great. You treat that person like they are the most important person in the world.
That's
right.
I love it. I think it's a great idea.
Let's do that. I love that idea. So Lesli, 6 steps to more sales. I have the kind of ticker tape running across the bottom here. If you guys want this resource, you go to leslibitel.com/6-steps/ it's right there. You can see it. Grab this resource. And of course, there's more information there on how you can work more closely with Lesli.
Actually, if you download the PDF, you will be invited to join me for a webinar on the 27th of September.
Nice.
And, I'll be going into even more depth in terms of the process.
Right.
And also, I'll be talking a little bit more about handling those pesky objections.
Okay. We love it. It's where we all get a little stuck. Well, everybody just give Lesli a round of applause in comments.
Thanks,
is it in the morning, the open house? I don't know what that question means. You can have an open house. Actually, if I were you, I would offer open house at 2 time slots because a lot of people work. So you can offer an open house from my open house is going to be at 10 a.m., on Thursday and 7 o'clock at night on Thursday, and just kind of see what happens. I think that could be really cool. Marnie, Lesli, is saying, I'm putting together a back-end membership in Q4 and love the open house idea. Yes, to get founding members. Marnie, excellent. Please let us know how that goes.
I really love the idea of doing that. So I would encourage you guys, play and have fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be so serious all the time.
It's a win-win-win. It's a win-win.
Fun. Let people know your marketing is showing your passion for helping people. That's all it is. It is not, it's got like kind of a bad.
It's not all about selling, right?
Right.
It's about helping people change their behaviors or taking action.
Is anyone going to FNCE?
I am, and Living Plate RX has a double wide booth. It's going to be so cool. So for those of you who are going to FNCE, is the Food and Nutrition Conference and Expo. Food Nutrition Conference and Expo. It's in Orlando this year. It is for registered dietitians and NDTRs, and Lesli and I will both be there. So make sure if you are going to let us know, and we'll connect.
Absolutely. So hope, can't wait to see you, Jeannie. Got my calendar marked Monday night.
Excellent. Excellent. Yes, we're having a party too. So come join us.
And,
so Leslie is going to be leaving us now. For those of you who are interested in seeing a brief tutorial on the non-calendar meal plan, which was just launched last night, stay on and I'm going to show you. Leslie, thank you again so much.
Thanks, Jeannie.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Pleasure. Bye for now.
Okay, bye. All right. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining that conversation with Lesli Bitel. I hope you take advantage of the resource that she's offered. I just wanted to take a few minutes to share with you all the non-calendar sequential meal plan. We talked a lot about and have been talking a lot about courses and evergreen offers and challenges. And one of the biggest barriers to practitioners using our meal plan in courses is that our meal planner runs on a calendar, right? So if somebody joins my program this week, they're going to see this week of the calendar. But if they join my evergreen program next week, they're going to see next week. So all of your students enrolling into your course, they're going to be starting at different times. The idea behind a non-calendar sequential meal plan is that everybody enters at week 1. It is sequential because it continues through the number of weeks that you predetermine. And I'm going to show you what that looks like now. So let me share my screen with you. Here we go. And if you have any questions kind of as I'm navigating, please let me know. All right, so share my screen. Okay. Share. Here we go. Here is this window. Perfect. All right. So you are now looking inside of the Living Plate. I think that's the one that I have. Yeah. Yep. The Living Plate RX demo account that I have set up. So I've already set up a non-calendar plan. You can take any one of your signature plans and make it a non-calendar plan. So if you have already taken time to create a meal plan for your 28-day blood sugar reset, or whatever you call it, you can actually offer that as a non-calendar plan as well. So you won't have to redo your work. Essentially, what you're doing is you're going to freeze the plan, and it's going to be a certain number of predetermined weeks. Everybody will enter at week 1. So whoever is excited about this, please give me clapping hand emoji in comments because I'm excited about it. All right. So you can see I have the demo plan here. The detox plan non-calendar here. So when you do create a signature plan that is non-calendar, just be specific enough that you know what it is so that when you're assigning it to clients who are joining your course, you're able to find it. So just go into configure. So it just like any other signature plan, you pick a base plan, you rename the plan, you give it a new name. Typically it aligns with your course. You redo the landing page, maybe your welcome email. And then all the way down here, you will now see 2 things under options. I'm getting clapping hands emojis. That's amazing. So now you will see 2 options here. Enable nutrition data for clients, which you've always had. So you can either suppress that or enable it, which is the default. And now you have this non-calendar sequential meal plan. Again, a non-calendar sequential meal plan means that there are a certain number of weeks. This plan I've made 4 weeks. So it's weeks 1, 2, 3, and 4. Everybody who joins this plan enters at week 1. So let's go ahead and go into that meal plan and see what it looks like. And I'll show you how to use it. I am going to do a tutorial that will then be in the library shortly. Just generate the planner here, and I'm going to click on the planner. The practitioner view and the client view is the same here. So you will see there are no dates. So it still runs Monday through Sunday. By the way, you see this, we've cooked up a new version and that little pop-up there. If you are logging into your Living Plate RX account and you see that, make sure you refresh your browser so that any code fixes that happened stick to your account. So here is my detox non-calendar meal plan for my 28-day detox challenge, right? Everybody who joins my detox challenge with the link that I provide to them, I'm going to provide them my landing page for this plan along with a coupon code that gives access to it for free because it is part of my course program. And then you can see here, I've got 4 weeks. You and your clients can toggle between the weeks. The reason why we did it this way is to give them access to all of the weeks is because clients might want to work at their own pace. So you might have a drip course, or you might be revealing all weeks at the same time. This just gives your clients flexibility. If they're working a little slower, or if they want to revisit a recipe from a prior week, they have access to all of the weeks. So you can select which week you want to view here, but I'm starting at week 1. So here is week 1, and you can see week 2 noted here, week 3, week 4. So isn't that cool? Esther, Felicia, yes, I'm super excited. Debbie is asking, I was just going to ask if you can make a copy of a meal plan and rename it. Yeah. So that's what the signature planner is for, Debbie. So you go into your signature planner, you pick a base plan, and then you rename it, and it becomes a completely new plan, just like I've created here. All right, so you can skip around to the weeks just by toggling here, and your client's going to see the exact same thing. There we go. Any questions? I mean, it's super easy, right? So that was the easiest demo I think I've ever done. Does anybody have any questions about the non-calendar sequential meal plan? Again, this is ideal for those of you who are doing evergreen programs, or you might just have clients who, just want to see all 4 weeks of, a simple plan. You can do that too. Okay, so Debbie's saying, so I won't need to add foods. They will already be populated. Debbie, the signature plan will populate your meal planner with whatever base plan you picked. This is the detox plan. This is the 3x4 detox plan. I just eliminated the 3x4 logo here because let's say this client wasn't using that test, but if they're using the 3x4 and you're doing like a nutrigenomic course, you definitely want to leave that in there. Yeah, so yes, it pre-populates and then you change it and then you're done. I can make edits to weeks 1, 2, 3, or 4. And then it sticks. So everybody who enters this plan is going to enter at week 1 and they'll see all the changes. So you're in complete control. Okay, terrific. So that is our non-calendar sequential meal plan. And then I'm just going to cover a couple of quick questions because we're running late today. Questions that have come in this week. Content from the library. How do I get that into my EHR? So somebody actually sent me an email asking, can I just download the entire library and upload it to my EHR? The answer is no, you can't, but you wouldn't want to do that because every piece of content should have your eyes on it. It should have your brand, your website, sometimes your profile picture, and you need to edit it to make it relevant to your ideal customer avatar. So all of the content is white labeled. So you're going to want to edit it and then load it into your EHR. Great work for a virtual assistant. And it works different for different EHRs. So I know how to upload documents into Healthy. I'm not totally familiar with Practice Better, but typically you can go into the Facebook group and say, hey, I have access to the Living Plate RX Prime Library. I want to upload the content to different folders. I want to have a handouts folder, for example, in my EHR. That would make it really easy for you to issue materials to your clients and include them in courses. So yes, you can do that, but we don't do that for you. So you'd have to hire somebody to do that. Alif is saying, how do we access this page? Is it in the library? I'm not sure what page you're talking about. The signature plan is in the Living Plate RX Prime tab. That's where you find that page. The signature planner is in the Living Plate RX Prime tab. All right, so content from library to EHR, great idea. You should do that. That leads us into update to course materials. We have uploaded courses already to Healthy and Practice Better, and we are chugging along. We're uploading 3 more courses this week. If you have not completed the form, I'll actually drop the link in here for you guys. If you haven't completed the form to have access to those free links to get those courses in your EHR, I'll drop it here. And as we continue to upload, you can continue to get access to those pre-built courses inside of Healthy and Practice Better. If you want them updated, not updated, if you want them branded, then you can hire String Marketing for a very reasonable rate to do that for you. So then you're completely hands-free and save a ton of time. We are also updating our slide decks for our existing courses. We are doing that probably in the next 2 weeks. So for example, Nutrition for Optimal Immunity, we've updated that slide deck. So the narration is the same, but the slide deck needs to be a little bit more dynamic. So we're having a tech person, a video tech person go in and keep the audio, but put in some new visuals. So we'll let you know our progress there so that all of the courses, the new and the old, are going to now look the same. Marnie is saying, yes, they are amazing and Practice Better. It's so easy. Oh, Marnie, thank you for saying that. Yeah, I mean, we have, so what this process of uploading the Living Plate RX Prime courses into the EHRs does is it enables practitioners to actually facilitate courses and offer courses, because there was a behavior that was getting in the way. There was a barrier, and the barrier was uploading the courses to my AHR is really time consuming and really difficult, and I really don't want to do it. So we've eliminated that barrier. We now have somebody doing that for you. So, and it's free. So again, if you are using Healthy or Practice Better, make sure that, and I'll drop that link in here when I'm done, make sure you click the link and request access to those white labeled versions. You still need to brand them, or you can hire String to do that. But wow, I mean, hours and hours and hours of time. Think about the chef's course, like over 40, I think there's 60 videos in there. So hours and hours of time from uploading things. Felicia is saying, can you give a reminder as to the table of contents? Yes. So the table of contents spreadsheet is in 2 places, Felicia. You will find it in the masterclass, and it's labeled table of contents. You will also find it in the library collection. There's like a general library collection describing what the Living Plate RX Prime library is. It's in there too. So it is in 2 places, and I'll also drop the link here when we're done. Debbie is saying, can you delete a signature planner after you've created it? Yes. The only problem you're going to encounter is if somebody is using that signature plan. If you delete, let's say I create a signature plan using the anti-inflammatory 3-day plan. I created my signature plan for my course, but now I want to delete it. If I delete it, everybody who is using that plan will be pushed into the default plan. So any client, we're not going to leave any clients hanging. We don't recommend that you cancel plans that you know people are actually using. But if you don't think anybody is using them, yes, you can delete them if you make a mistake or you just want to get rid of them. Yeah, no problem. Okay, Debbie's asking, how do I delete it? There's just an X next to that. Let me go in here and I'll show you. So you just go to your dashboard, go into Living Plate RX Prime, your signature meal plan, and let's see here. It's populating right now, and just see that X there? You're just going to delete it. So easy peasy, really simple. Okay, but you will get a warning that says anybody who's using this plan is now going to default to the base plan. We'll just push them over for you. Okay, last bit of news, and Leslie had alluded to it, that we will both be at FNCE, which is the Food Nutrition Conference and Expo in Orlando, October 8th through the 11th. If you are in the Orlando area or you are just planning on going to FNCE, please let me know if you're going to be there. I am hosting a party with our partner 3x4 on Monday night. It's a wonderful sit-down Greek dinner. We'd love to have you there. And we will have a terrific booth there as well. So make sure that you connect with us if you are going to FNCE. Connie is saying, welcome, Connie. Is it possible to drop the monthly content a month in advance? That would give us time to prepare. We're trying to get ahead. It's really hard. And honestly, the holidays really set us back this month. So we're almost done with September. We are trying to drop content the week before, or at least the week of. So we're trying, Connie. We're getting there. My goal would be to do it way ahead. Sometimes though, our community does request content that takes us time to develop. So right now we try to get it in the first 10 days. We're about 3-4 days behind with some of the content. Most of it's in there for September. We're trying, Connie. And Connie, again, Connie, could you please drop your social handle here? Because I want people to visit your Instagram page. Connie is doing what we all should be doing. She is taking Living Plate RX Prime content for social media and completely transforming it to speak to her ideal customer avatar. You don't even know it's Living Plate RX Prime content, but it is, I can tell, and it's fantastic. So Connie, can you do that? Can you drop your social media handle here? I think it would be really beneficial for our group to see. It's at your diabetes nutrition expert. Thank you so much. Do we have social content index? Well, it's in your table of contents. You can see every month what is being dropped. So yes, you do. You do. It's in that table of contents. Okay, great. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. If you are joining us and you're not a member of our community, please join our private Facebook group, Scale Your Nutrition Practice. We welcome all health and wellness professionals to join the conversation about how we can change health behaviors with food. It's a very active group. So we would love to see you there. Celine is saying, Connie, do you have a VA? Oh, so great. Have your private conversation. Connie, if you have a VA that you are utilizing and you want to share, I'm sure our community would like some tips. Terrific. Thank you again so much. This recording will remain on the Facebook page, and we will include a timestamp within the next few days. So thank you again so much for joining me. Take care.